Do you enjoy traveling in a van, boat, or RV? Do you enjoy playing video games? Maybe on a handheld, maybe on a console, maybe on a PC or some other gaming device? Are you worried that maybe you can't do both of these things at the same time? Well, chances are you can, but it may be a little bit more challenging than gaming from a fixed location such as a home. In this video, we'll cover some tips and tricks to help you do that successfully from a high level and get you started so that you can do gaming successfully on the road. Hi, I'm Andy with the Mobile Internet Resource Center, and today we're going to talk about online gaming via mobile internet if you're traveling in a van, boat, or RV. Now, this may seem like a challenging task, but it may not be as difficult as you may first think. Now, this video is a companion to our written guide, which is on our website. The link is in the description below. And we're going to cover this topic at kind of a high level because it's very easy to get into the weeds on this. So we'll be covering all the basic concepts, all the basic challenges that you'll want to watch out for, all the basic factors that you'll want to consider when you are looking at gaming on the road or water while you're traveling. So the first thing you're going to want to look at are the travel factors. So what sort of travel lifestyle that you're going to be doing? Are you going to be traveling full time or are you going to be traveling part time? Maybe you're only going to be traveling on the weekends. So depending on what sort of travel you're going to be doing is really going to drive what sort of system and connectivity needs that you are going to need for your gaming setup. Additionally, that plays into that is the travel frequency. So if you are a full-time traveler, for example, if you're going to be traveling and moving from place to place on a weekly basis or more frequently, that's going to present some more challenges compared to somebody who's maybe only going to be moving monthly or every 6 months. You're going to have some different challenges and options depending on which of those you do. Additionally, the types of locations you plan to travel to. If you're the type of traveler who wants to get in those very remote areas or national parks where there's not going to be a lot of good connectivity, you're going to have some challenges staying connected, even to do basic things like checking email, much less getting a good solid connection for video games, compared to somebody who may be in more urban areas or closer to towns with better connectivity. So you want to consider the locations that you plan to travel to when assessing your needs for mobile connectivity for gaming. So the next thing you want to consider is the type of gamer you are and all the related gaming factors. So what sort of gaming devices do you have? What do you play your games on? Is it a PC? Is it consoles, handheld? Is it even smartphone or a tablet? So the types of devices, the number of devices, all that plays into the more that you have, the more types of games that you have, that all adds to the complexity of the system and your needs that you will have. Especially if you have a lot of games, you play a lot of different types of games, you may have more games that you'll need to download, that you'll need to keep updated with patches. That's going to take more data that you'll need to download over your mobile internet connections. So that's something you'll need to keep in mind. Are you an organized team player? For example, do you play competitively on a schedule or with friends on a particular schedule that you need to keep? So if you travel around in different time zones or different locations, are you going to be able to need to keep that schedule? If so, you're going to have to plan your stops and your travel to make sure that you have the connectivity you need so that you can meet your commitments for your gaming schedule. Another consideration is the types of games that you play. So some games will have more requirements for better latency requirements, or they will have more requirements for better bandwidth connections, or many games will have more requirements for larger patch and more frequent downloads for patches and updates. So that is something that you will also have to consider to make sure that you will be able to have those updates for your games when you're ready to play and be able to download them. Final consideration is to consider any gaming services that you will need to use or want to use. The popular one that most everybody uses is Discord. So, uh, do you need to keep your Discord connection open and live all the time, be able to use Discord chat? Some people like to stream their games onto Twitch. That is a whole nother um, a situation because you are actually broadcasting. We do have a guide and a companion video on video broadcasting that really is not related specifically to gaming, but that takes a lot of bandwidth to not only be able to play your game, but also broadcast it out. Some people like to be able to watch somebody else stream their games while playing their own games. So you want to be able to have the bandwidth to do that. Other people use chat programs, voice programs, other programs that do take an internet connection and bandwidth. So you want to be able to ensure that you'll be able to use those programs as needed and that they are compatible with the internet connection that you are using. And of course, as with anything else, you will also need to consider your budget. So if you're going to build an internet system that is compatible with your gaming needs, you'll want to consider your budget, how much money you have to spend on any mobile internet gear, as well as data plans to go along with that. So for this next section, we're going to have to get a little bit into the weeds on gaming technology and network technology. And the reason is that there are some aspects of mobile internet connections that affect gaming connections differently than most landline connections. So we'll keep this at a high level, but it's important that you understand some of these considerations so that you know when you're having trouble connecting with a certain game, what's going on and what some of the reasons may be so that you may be able to troubleshoot or find a different solution. So starting off with network topology, for online multiplayer games, most games use one of two basic types of connection typologies. One is a client server where all the players, the clients, connect to a central server. The server determines what's happening in the game and keeps track of all that and sends it to the clients. This is generally not a problem with any mobile internet connection. Client servers generally not a problem at all for playing games with mobile internet connection. The other major type is peer-to-peer connections. This is where you don't have a central server that all the players connect to. Instead, all the players are connected to each other. That's why it's called peer-to-peer. And this is where you can have problems with some mobile internet connections, especially cellular connections. And in some peer-to-peer connections, not only with some games, but with also some gaming services that use peer-to-peer connections. They may not work at all, or you may have issues with connecting them. So that's just something to keep in mind. The other big thing that gamers often talk about is NAT type. With console gaming, some handheld gaming, as well as PC gaming, NAT type is a big factor. NAT type is basically a scale of usually 3 tiers that show how open the connection is from the console to the internet. And with mobile internet connections, you are generally not going to have as an open of a connection as you will with a landline. And that's just the way that mobile internet connections work, unfortunately. Now, generally, it's going to be in that middle tier where you have a sort of a semi-open connection and you can usually play games. But for example, if you're playing peer-to-peer games, you're generally not going to be able to host games. That's going to be one of the downsides. So just be aware that NAT type can be a concern with many types of games. Moving on to latency, another big thing with gamers is latency. Everybody knows, especially if you play the more fast-paced first-person shooter type of games, that latency is a very important consideration. The good news is that latency on mobile connectivity internet connections has gotten a lot better. Latency is not going to be as good as, for example, a home fiber optic connection, but latency of under 50 milliseconds is quite common now with cellular connections, for example, and even Starlink latency is getting to be very good. So latency is generally not as big of a problem as it used to be. But like everything else with mobile internet, it is location dependent. You can be in a location where you have bad latency. You can be in a location where you have good latency. So it just depends. Next is bandwidth. Uh, you do need a certain amount of bandwidth depending on the game. Fortunately, most online games do not require a huge amount of bandwidth unless you are playing one of those cloud games where the whole game is streamed to you, in which case that requires a tremendous amount of bandwidth. Um, but most games do not require a huge amount of bandwidth. A lot of times you can play a game by tethering to your smartphone, and that can provide enough bandwidth. So you want to look at your game in the support files to see how much bandwidth it requires, and then you can do a speed test at your location and determine if the connection will be sufficient to support the game that you're playing. So next we'll talk about the specific connectivity options that you'll have with your mobile internet choices. That's going to be cellular, Wi-Fi, and satellite. Those are the primary ones that you're going to focus on. The main one of these for most people is going to be cellular. Cellular in North America is very robust at this point. All three of the major carriers, T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T, have built out very robust LTE networks and are aggressively building out their 5G networks. And in most parts of the country, they have very good coverage and connectivity. Of course, it's going to depend on location, which carrier is best, and what the specific performance is going to be. And like everything else with cellular, the performance is going to depend on what plan you have, what the congestion is on that tower, what the equipment you're using is. If you have a low category modem, a poor performing modem, compared to a good modem, what antennas you're using, other signal enhancements you're using, how far away from you are from the tower, if you're on a plan that's under network management is deprioritized, all these factors can affect your network performance and can affect your gaming performance. So we have a lot of information on our website as well as videos on this channel that cover all things cellular, including we have a top picks data plans guide and a top pick plans video that goes over all the best cellular data plans to consider for nomads who are traveling, and those are good picks also for gamers who are looking for connectivity on the road or water. Now, next is satellite, and really the only game in town right now at the time of shooting this video, which is in May of 2024, is Starlink. And Starlink is a great option for many things because it provides unlimited data, provides good speeds, it has coverage everywhere that you can get a good view of the sky. But it does have a big downside for gamers, and that is that it still does have dropouts. And dropouts, even tiny dropouts of fractions of a second, can disconnect you from a game, which is really bad. If you're streaming a video or you're sending an email or you're checking a website, Those little dropouts aren't a big deal, but if you're playing a game, those dropouts can kick you off a game server, and it's just game ending and doesn't work very well. So Starlink can work, but you have to have really perfect conditions to be able to game well for online multiplayer gaming with Starlink. Perfect conditions of the sky with no dropouts, and that can be very rare indeed. So that is something that you'll really need to consider when using Starlink. The last choice is Wi-Fi. And when we talk about Wi-Fi, we're talking about campground Wi-Fi, marina Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi hotspots. So Wi-Fi that you may be able to tap into, say you have your console or PC and you have the campground Wi-Fi that you can connect to directly with your gaming device. Uh, this might work for you, it might not. It's really going to depend on what kind of connectivity that particular Wi-Fi hotspot provides. Sometimes they provide great connectivity, other times they provide really lousy connectivity. Sometimes they deliberately block a lot of um, entertainment and gaming type of services, so you may not be able to connect to game servers at all. So it just really depends on the specific access point that you connect to. So it's not something you should really depend on. You will just need to test it at each location to see if it's actually going to work for you. The final thing to talk about is all the hardware that you will need to bring everything together. So you'll have your gaming devices, you'll have whatever data plans you have, but you will need all the connectivity to bring them together. Maybe that's going to be a mobile router with a cellular antenna on the roof of your vehicle or boat and with everything connected to that. Or maybe you don't need that. Maybe you just need a mobile hotspot device with a little portable antenna. Or maybe your needs are simple and all you need is a smartphone with a lot of hotspot data that you can tether your PC to. So it all depends on your needs. You'll need to consider not only your gaming needs, but all the other use cases that you plan to do while you are traveling in your van, boat, or RV. We have a lot of content on that here at the Mobile Internet Resource Center that goes over how to pick all those devices, how to make all those choices so that you end up with a system that actually meets your needs and satisfies what you want to do. So we encourage you to check out the other videos about that here on our YouTube channel, as well as check out the other guides on our website. So this concludes our overview of gaming online with mobile internet in a van, boat, or RV while you're traveling around North America. Now, a lot of this information was complicated, but it's important to realize that most of the time you can get online with mobile internet with your gaming device, and usually it will work and you can have a good time. However, if you do need additional troubleshooting assistance or you want to go more into detail, we do have a full written guide that's a companion to this video that goes into much more depth about all the topics we talked about in this video. However, that information is exclusive to our members who fund all the work that we do here at the Mobile Internet Resource Center. So if you're interested in membership, there is a link to that in the description below. And members not only get exclusive content in all of our guides, but they also get a lot of other benefits such as full reviews, access to our testing notes, access to our team of technical experts, as well as many more benefits. So check that out if you're interested in membership. We'd also like to hear from you about what you think about gaming over mobile internet. If you've done it before, what your experience is. So please leave us a comment below and tell us what you think. And if you like this content, please subscribe to the channel and leave us a like if you like this video. So that does it for today. We hope you enjoy gaming over mobile internet and are able to do it successfully in the future. So stay connected. We'll see you next time and take care.
These videos are brought to you by our premium members, our mobile internet aficionados. They make it possible for us to track this news and create these videos. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to our channel, or better yet, consider becoming a member yourself.